Welcome to Halal Money Matters, presented by Saturna Capital. I'm Christopher Patton, Saturna's cultural attaché, and I'm here with Monem Salam, Executive Vice President at Saturna. How are you, Monem?
I'm doing really good. I'm really excited about this podcast.
I'm going to take that a step further. Who are you? Because I don't know you very well.
That's good. So my name is Monem Salam. I actually grew up in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Went to school in University of Texas at Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Got my undergrad in government and economics. Got my MBA specializing in international finance. And I joined Saturna in 2002. And been here for about 17 years and loving every minute of it.
And I have been a Saturna for far less of a time. I'm just about getting to 5 years.
Awesome.
But we haven't worked together much. Why is that?
Well, for the past 7 years, I've been living in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And so back in 2010, we started an office there. And we really wanted to grow it. So I took the opportunity to take my family and go there and really try to grow that thing. So November 2018 is when I returned with my family.
Do you feel like that was a rewarding experience?
It was great. The travel was really good.
Sure.
The different cultures that we were having exposure to. And now as this is my first fasting month of Ramadan that I'm spending in the U.S. after 7 years in Malaysia. And so it's different, but it, every country has its unique characteristics.
Well, how is it different?
Well, for one thing, Malaysia's time differences throughout the year only fluctuate by 30 minutes.
Oh.
So it's pretty much the same throughout the year.
Okay.
Whereas here right now, we're opening our fast 3 o'clock in the morning, and then at night we're breaking it at 8:40. So it's quite a long day.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think here the community comes together a lot more. There's different aspects of it which are really good.
Cool.
So maybe we'll do a whole podcast on Malaysian Ramadan or something like that.
I think it's fascinating. Yeah.
So.
Well, like I said, I've been a Saturna for almost 5 years, primarily doing video production. I also do a little promoting our company culture, both in and outside of our company walls. So what's our goal here with this show? What would you say our mission is?
Yeah, so I think that what I want to do is really educate our listeners about all the different aspects of Islamic finance.
Sure.
So we'll start off, obviously, because we're in the business of investment, so we'll start off there, talk general, get more specific, and as we get further on, I know people will have questions on other aspects of Islamic finance, so whether it be a mortgage, or insurance or anything along those lines. So I think I'd really like to be able to delve into it. And I get questions all the time from people. Some of them are very basic, others are very, very detailed about their particular situation. So we'll try to cover it all from the general to the specific, and hopefully people will benefit from it.
Yeah, and for this first episode, we had kind of talked about potential topics, and one that I liked was what is Sharia compliant investing really? Yeah. And you kind of took it a step further, which I think is good, and said why invest?
Yeah.
Which I think is a great baseline for a lot of people.
Yeah, it really is, and a lot of times. There's always an excuse for you not to make investments.
Sure.
People want to just put it off and not do anything. And really what I try to encourage people is that, make savings part of your expenses. So, for example, as you pay your home mortgage bill, you pay your other bills, just make one expense item savings. And, most people say you should keep about 6 to 9 months. Most advisors say you should keep about 6 to 9 months in ready available cash. But then after that point, you are getting, even from your employer, constantly bombarded with, hey, have a 401k, what's an IRA,
Sure.
what's all those things. So I think it's really important to do that. And, one thing I was taught very early on is, the people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. And
Sure.
So it's really more a matter of trying to knowing exactly what's going to come up later on in your life and really planning for that and making sure you have enough savings there to cover it.
And I wasn't exposed to a lot of these concepts until I started working here 5 years ago.
We are a lot of times as Americans living paycheck to paycheck, and we're one paycheck away from falling into serious debt trouble. And so I think what the savings allows you to do is really try to stay out of that trap. So we're always one step away from falling into debt. And debt is something it's a very serious topic in Islam. And not only the aspect of debt from an interest perspective, which is not allowed, but just the idea of debt itself. And so, for example, there's multiple hadith or the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. One of them said that he never actually prayed the funeral prayer on somebody who died in debt. There's a lot of things like that. So really, staying out of debt is something that's very encouraged in Islam.
And that's hard to do in, American culture because debt is seen as just something that everybody gets into freely, I would say.
Yeah, I think one of the greatest inventions of the 20th century was being able to convince people that debt is credit.
Sure, credit. Right. It's a different word, so it's totally different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes a whole bunch of different because nobody likes to be in debt. I mean, you're always going to be subservient to the person who gave you the money. And the Prophet Muhammad actually used to make a special prayer that said, oh God, protect me from sins and heavy debts. And when somebody asked him, why do you make this prayer? He said, when somebody's in debt, when he speaks, he tells a lie, and when he makes a promise, he breaks it. And how many times have you lent money to somebody yourself, and every time you see the person, like, yeah, I'm gonna pay you back tomorrow. I know I got it. Just like one more thing I got to do, and it's always in that mind frame. So I didn't want to talk about debt in this particular issue, but we can probably do that later. But I think it's a way to be able to prevent that is to be able to have that savings. I mean, with the education of our children, maybe eventually going for Hajj. Healthcare, all the things. We're just basically one accident, one something away from either being completely in debt or being dependent on other people to take care of us. And so that's I think is very important to be able to be financially have some freedom. I think generally speaking, I think as I mentioned, there's a lot of things that you can do to be able to save money for things that are going to come up in your life. And so, if you're a student, I'll back up. I think the importance of having or teaching our children to save is very, very important. So what I try to do with my children, and I'm not perfect, but and they don't always do it, but it's like whenever they get money, it's like 1/3 you can spend on yourself, 1/3 you give to charity, and 1/3 you're going to save. And so that if they get into that habit, that's really great. And then when they do that, then as they graduate, and they'll think twice about getting into student debt, and they'll look for scholarships or other alternatives to not fall into that student debt trap. And then from there, you move on, and there are certain things that are almost a guarantee in your life, right? Most likely you are gonna get married. If you get married, you're probably gonna have kids, and then eventually it's a matter of their education, your retirement, your parents are getting older. All of these things are happening every single, let's say every 5 years or so, sometimes even sooner. And a lot of times these things aren't happening in a vacuum.
Right.
And so a lot of times, it's when your parents are old enough that they need to be taken care of, it's probably the same time your kids are old enough to go to college, and now you're seriously thinking about going for Hajj, right? And the pilgrimage part of it, which is what Hajj is, I remember probably not even like 15 years ago when I could go for Hajj for like $2,500. And now I was looking at the packages here in the U.S., and it's like $15,000.
Oh
and so the inflation of Hajj is much more than the regular inflation rate in the U.S.
Why do you think that is?
I think, well, first of all, it's a captured market, right?
Yeah,
it's like you have to go. Yeah. There's only a certain number of hotels that are there, and they're increasing the number of people that go every year. So it's a supply and demand issue. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's doing that. And the other reason is that they are increasing the number of services that they offer, and maybe different packages and those type of things. But I think for the average person, this is definitely something that they won't be able to take out of cash flow in any one given year. They have to be able to save for it, and there are vehicles to do that. And I think it's important to think about those. And the great part is the Prophet said that that your actions are judged on your intentions. And so if you basically just make the intention to go for Hajj and just start saving for it, even if you never get there, at least you've gotten a reward of actually going. Right. It's beautiful. So it's really great to really, even if it's $25 a month you're just putting away, people should try to do that.
Well, and a lot of the things you're describing are things that are likely to happen, or things that people know that they want. Yeah. But I think still, when it comes to saving and investing, there's not a goal-based mindset. They don't. A lot of people I speak to don't think about these things as something that they have control over. They think something will happen to me, and then you react, as opposed to looking down the line and saying, "This is something I want. This is something that means something to me or my family, or a goal I have," and you can kind of take control of that timeline yourself.
You really can.
Your finances.
Things happen in your life that you're like, so I'm so glad that I saved.
In schools in the United States, the financial literacy is not excellent. I took an economics class in high school.
Home economics or something, right?
That's right. It's not. I didn't feel empowered to take control of those things until I started working here and started seeing it firsthand, like what you can do. People have the power to do this.
That's so true. I remember in high school we were in home economics or something. A teacher sat us down and said, "This is how you write a check, right?" And so here you put the date, and this is what you do and stuff. Yeah. But it was never really about what are you writing the check for, right? And so you can write it for your expenses. That's what we were taught. but really it's also a matter of having it, for emergency things. I mean, I remember starting with like a $50 a month investment in college, I slowly saved up, and in the late 1990s, something happened where I let somebody borrow money and they never gave it back, and I needed the money, and if I didn't have that savings, I would have ended up in a crisis situation. So I kind of learned from that, not to do that again. Always have some savings set aside. What's the one thing you've learned at Saturna that you think you would like to share with the audience?
I think the importance of saving for retirement, because even not having an aspiration to buy a boat or go travel, like, to me, I thought that's why people save, is because they want some huge thing, and I'm happy without that, so I think it'll be okay. Yeah. Kind of thinking, I've lived cheaply my whole life, but getting in and realizing just meeting your current standard of living, you need to have a certain amount. Medical expenses are going to be more. Things that maybe sound like they should be obvious, but aren't directly stated in a lot of schools in terms of these things.
Yeah, it's really funny. The traditional model of retirement is like 59, 60. You get a handshake and a watch and something, and you're off into the sunset, and you're gonna die in a few years or something like that. My grandparents lived till they were almost in their 90s.
Sure.
And so if you retire and do nothing at 60, we have to kind of reframe and say it's really not about doing nothing. It's really doing the things that you want to do with the savings that you're able to do it. So maybe if you love to work, maybe you do that. If you love to do charity, you do that. And you do those things later on. You spend time with your grandchildren, whatever it is you want to do. This is like a supplemental thing to be able to help you in really being able to do what you want to do. And I think that's really important to kind of mention to people. Yeah.
Just, maintaining purchasing power for the money you save.
Just keeping up with inflation and and cost of living, I think, is it's really important.
Realizing, those Pringles cans full of nickels I buried in the yard are not going to buy as many candy bars in 40 years. So we talked a little bit about goals that you might have or even foresee for yourself in investing to meet those. But there are faith-based reasons that you would have as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest one that comes up, we talked about a little earlier, was saving for Hajj. That's one of them. And the other one, it's a matter of, there is an encouragement in Islam to save money. And part of that saving is that you have to basically purify that savings as well. So, you get into the issues of zakat, which is the purifying of your wealth. And that's a very, very important aspect of Islamic finance. Really being able to use charitable donations for causes that people want to be able to invest. To spend money on. So I think those are the couple of reasons why. I know now it's become, in the U.S. it's become very popular to make religious excursions. People are organizing trips to Turkey or Palestine to go visit Dome of the Rock, or those type of things, and not only the Hajj aspect of it, but a lot of people try to go to the lesser pilgrimage, which is called Umrah, and even that one is not cheap. So that's going to cost you money too. So maybe you go for Hajj and you're done, and early on in your life, or you're blessed enough that your parents paid for Hajj, but there might be other things that you want to do to do that. And I think a lot of times you could even be travel just in general. I think in America we're kind of a little bit insulated. And so a lot of people don't travel, but I know that being able to visit Muslim countries and others as well, it really broadens your horizon as to what the world is really like. And I really those things again require savings. So now home ownership is another one. You might be living in an area where it's owning a home is cost prohibitive. It's just too expensive even to come up with a down payment. But that doesn't mean you should try to start saving towards that towards that goal. And what are the vehicles that you can use to do that? That's no. Forget about the aspect of how do you find a halal mortgage. It's more a matter of how do you come up with the 20% down payment, and then from there it's just looking at education and retirement. There's the government has a lot of incentives for you to do that, so they don't have to take the burden on themselves, and so they give a lot of tax incentives and those things also. And even on education, there's 529, there's Coverdell's, all of these things are there. And I think really educating yourself about that. And, and the beauty about these podcasts is going to be that, you might not have children now, but maybe 5 years from now when you do, you'll be able to go back to one of these episodes that we're doing and listen to it again and be able to maybe get some benefit out of it.
So we've talked about the why And so it seems like a natural place to leave it here would be to kind of establish our next episode is probably going to be the how.
Yeah, exactly. And I think starting the how starts with, from why invest to now that you have investments, what do you do with it, is going to be, what makes an investment halal. And I think that's probably a good podcast to do the next time, because I think it'll take us the next step towards really looking at what savings we can do and what investments we can make.
All right. Well, I guess I'll see you back here for that one then.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Monem.
Thanks.
Please consider an investment's objectives, risks, charges, and expenses carefully before investing. To obtain this and other important information about the Amana funds in a current prospectus or summary prospectus, please visit amanafunds.com or call toll-free 1-800-728-8762. Please read the prospectus or summary prospectus carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the risk that you could lose money. The Amana funds restrict investments to those companies consistent with Islamic and sustainable principles, which limits opportunities and may affect performance. This material is for general information only and is not a research report or commentary on any investment products offered by Saturna Capital. This material should not be construed as an offer to sell or the solicitation of an offer to buy any security in any jurisdiction where such an offer or solicitation would be illegal. We do not provide tax, accounting, or legal advice to our clients, and all investors are advised to consult with their tax, accounting, or legal advisors regarding any potential investment. Investors should not assume that investments in the securities and/or sectors described were or will be profitable. This podcast is prepared based on information Saturna Capital deems reliable. However, Saturna Capital does not warrant the accuracy or completeness of the information. Investors should consult with a financial advisor prior to making an investment decision. The views and information discussed in this commentary are at a specific point in time, are subject to change, and may not reflect the views of the firm as a whole. All material presented in this publication, unless specifically indicated otherwise, is under copyright to Saturna. No part of this publication may be altered in any way, copied, or distributed without the prior express written permission of Saturna Capital.